Hello my schoolers, welcome to my school channel. Right here we'll be tackling English JAMB question for the year 2018. Don't go anywhere, stay with us and we'll be right back. Welcome back to my school channel. Right here in this video clip we'll be tackling question 41 to 60. Now let's begin with question 41. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word, words or phrase in italics. The journalist said he was working freelance. Option A, tireless. Option B, without pay. Option C, satisfactory. Option D, dependently. Now the instruction has said we should look for the opposite in meaning to the word in italics. Now the word in italics is freelance and it means to work freely, to work independently, to not have a long contract or long-term contract with someone or something, to work at your own pace. So that is what it means. Option A, tirelessly. B, without pay. C, satisfactory. D, dependently. Dependently is the answer. Dependently means to be dependent, to rely on something or someone. So option D is the correct answer to this question. Question 42. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase in italics. The Flying Eagles put up a plucky defense against their opponents. Option A, strong. Option B, weak. Option C, careless. Option D, tactful. Now the word in italics is plucky and we've been asked to look for the opposite in meaning to this word. Plucky means to show courage or strength in a difficult situation. Now the opposite of that is weak. Weak is lacking strength, lacking energy to do something. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Question 43. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase in italics. We found a shady place for the display. Option A, an open. Option B, an unsafe. Option C, a stuffy. Option D, an enclosure. Now the word in italics is shady. Shady means situated inside or in or full of shade, full of covering. Now the opposite of this word or the answer to this question is an open, which is exposure or outside. So an enclosure is synonymous to the word shady, and the reason why I will not be going for an unsafe, because unsafe means not protected, and then sometimes you can use shady for protection and all, but then protection is like a secondary meaning. Okay, the primary meaning of the word shady is inside, situated inside or full of shade or covered with a shade. So because this is just a secondary meaning, a connotative meaning, we won't be settling for option B, but option A is the correct answer to this question. Question 44. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. The sea wave continued to dash the cliff on the west coast constantly. Option A, impair. Option B, rob. Option C, knock. Option D, erode. Now the two options I'll be explaining is impair. Impair means to damage, to weaken. While option D, erode. Erode means to gradually wear away, and to wear away means to gradually disappear. So in this context, we will choose erode. Erode relates to context that talks about sea, that talks about water or wind or any other natural resources. That is why we'll be settling for option D. So the sea wave continued to erode the cliff on the west coast constantly, and we know that a cliff is a large area of rock found in a sea. So we can imagine the sea wave covering the visibility of a cliff. So option D is the correct answer to this question. Question 45. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. I would have been surprised if you dashed the orange. Option A, plugged. Option B, I've plugged. Option C, had plugged. Option D, did plug. The answer to this question is option C, had plugged. Now why is that so? Now the verb phrase would have is a conditional statement that is used to talk about something that did not happen in the past. In the arrangement of tenses, if you have the main clause containing would have, the subordinate clause, which is conditional because of the presence of if, should be in its past participle, or what I like to call past perfect tense. Now we can see option C is in its past participle as opposed to option B, which is a present perfect tense. Option C is a past perfect tense. So following the rule, option C is the correct answer to this question. I would have been surprised if you had plucked the orange. Don't forget to take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past questions. All you need to do is click on the link in the description below. It takes you to my school website. There you can download my school mobile app for your Android phones or my school software for your laptops and computers. Go ahead and download and start practicing. So moving on to question 46. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. By the time the plane reaches Harare, it's dashed in the air for 12 hours. Option A has been, option B would be, option C would have been, option D should be. The answer to this question is option C would have been. Now let me explain. The adverb of time, by the time, it can be used in the present tense, past tense, and future tense. But however, let's look at the sentence. You see that the sentence is in its present tense because of the verb reaches. It's in its present tense. So to fill in this gap, we'll be needing a present perfect tense. That is would have been. Now let's take for instance, this is in its past tense, reached. Then we'll be considering options like would have been. But because it is in its present tense, we'll be settling for would have been. Option C is the correct answer to this question. I believe you are enjoying this content. If so, do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 47. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. The patient is suffering from dash. Now this option contains misspellings of the word rheumatism. Now the answer to this question is option D, R-H-E-U-M-A-T-I-S-M, rheumatism. So the correct answer to this question is option D, rheumatism. Question 48. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. We saw if we're called dash an egg on the wall. Option A, smashed. Option B, smash. Option C, smashing. Option D, smashes. Now the answer to this question is option B, smash. Now why is that so? Now let's take a look at this statement. This statement is more like a reported statement. So in a reported statement, we retain the present tense. Okay, so that is why it is smashed. The reason why we will not be settling for smashing is because the object here is a single action, an egg. If we have eggs, we can think about choosing smashing. But then it's as an egg, a single action, and that is why it is smash. So we saw if we're called smash an egg on the wall. Option B is the correct answer to this question. Question 49. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. Knowledge of figures of speech as well as of idiom and lexical items dash in this section. Option A is tested. Option B, have been tested. Option C, are tested. Option D, were tested. Now the answer to this question is option A, is tested. Now why is this so? In the rule of Concord, it states that whenever phrases or words like alongside, as well as, together with, no less than is used in a sentence, then the pronoun or noun before the marker of accompaniment, I mean, as well as, together with, and so on. So let me go back. The noun or pronoun before the marker of accompaniment should be the same with the verb element or the verb structure. Now we can say our options are verb structured. Now let's look at the noun before as well as, or the subject before as well as. We can see knowledge of figures of speech. Now knowledge of figure of speech is singular. Don't forget, knowledge is an uncountable noun, so it has influenced figures of speech. We can only have one knowledge, so it is a singular subject. But let's take for instance, we don't have knowledge of in this sentence. We have just figures of speech, then we can go for attested. But then we have knowledge of figures of speech, so we should use option A is tested. So knowledge of figures of speech as well as of idiom and lexical items is tested in this section. Option A is the correct answer to this question. Question 50. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. The answers to the questions were discussed dash the students. Option A between, option B by, option C for, option D to. Now the answer to this question is by. We won't be settling for between because we can't determine the number of students involved in this question. If we can tell the number of students is at 2, we can settle for between. But because we can't determine the number of students involved, we'll go with by. So the answers to the questions were discussed by the students. Option B is the correct answer to this question. Question 51. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. The shipping company advertised for dash accountants. Option A, 2 young but highly competent Nigeria. Option B, young but highly competent to Nigerian. Option C, 2 Nigerian young but highly competent. Option D, highly competent but young to Nigerian. Now, first and foremost, I want to discuss the concept of cumulative adjective, and we'll also look at coordinate adjective. Now, what's the difference between the two? Now, for cumulative adjectives, there are orders in which adjectives should follow, which I'll be showing you on the board. And we have coordinate adjective. Coordinate adjectives do not follow any particular order, but we have the presence of and, which is a conjunction, and the use of comma. So we have and or comma. But then we have commas here, but then we have but. In coordinate adjective, it did not specify if we could use but as a conjunction also. It tells us about and comma. So we'll be adhering strictly to the use of and comma for coordinate adjective. So in this option, we cannot apply coordinate adjective to solve this question. We'll be looking at cumulative adjective. Now let's go over to the board for a better understanding. Now this is cumulative adjective and it has an order in which it should follow. We have the determiner, quantity or number. So it is called either of those three terms. So we have opinion or quality, then we have size, age, color, shape, origin, material, and purpose. So this is the order in which it should follow. Now the question says the shipping company advertised for dash accountants, and we have the adjectives. We have 2, we have young, we have highly competent, and we have Nigerian. Now don't forget that the use of but is present in all the options, and but is to contrast, to show a difference or to contrast between two ideas. So we have two different ideas, but we are just showing a contrast or a difference between those two ideas. The answer to the question is actually option A. Now, why is it option A? We have 2 young, which is one idea following one particular order. So we have 2 first, and then we have young second. Then we have the other idea, which is highly competent, also following the cumulative order. Highly competence comes first before Nigeria. So we can see from my explanation that option A is the correct answer to this question. Now we are looking at this question as 2 contrasting ideas. Okay, so we have the first idea and then the second, and they are both following a particular order, the cumulative adjective. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Question 52. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. If it had rained, we would have had to postpone the concert. It didn't rain, so dash. A, we wouldn't have to. Option B, we would have had to. Option C, we wouldn't have to. Option D, we didn't have to. The answer to this question is option D, we didn't have to. Now, why is this so? Now, let's look at the sentence structure. We have 2 sentences. Now, the first 10 sentences give us an impression of the use of conditional statements with the use of would have and then if. And earlier I talked about conditional statements. When you see the word would have, it's used to talk about something that did not happen in the past, and then the conditional statement that follows or that comes before, in this case it comes before, should contain a past perfect tense, which you can see at rain. But then this conditional statement ended in this first sentence, so we cannot use it in the second sentence. So in the second sentence we have a past tense and then a past tense should follow. So it didn't rain, so we didn't have to is the correct answer to this question. Option D is the correct answer to this question. Question 53. Choose the word or phrase which best fill the gap. Now I am used dash bread without butter. Option A, to eat. Option B, in eating. Option C, of eating. Option D, to eating. Now the answer to this question is option D, to eating. Now why is it to eating? Because used here signifies that this is something you do on a regular basis, so it should be considered as a continuous tense. So eating is the correct answer to this question. Now I am used to eating bread without butter. Option D is the correct answer. Question 54. Choose the option that has a different stress pattern from the others. Option A, ability. Option B, registration. Option C, quadruplicate. Option C, revivalist. Now let's go back to the board for the breakdown of the syllable. Option A, we have the stress pattern on the second syllable. We have ability. Option B, registration on the third syllable. Option C, quadruplicate. Option C has the stress pattern on the second syllable, while option D also has the stress pattern on the second syllable. So from this we can see that the only difference here is option B. It has its stress pattern on the third syllable. Now let's go back to the screen. So from our explanation, my explanation on the board, rather, we have option B as the final answer, as opposed to other options which has its stress pattern on the second syllable. Option B has its stress pattern on the third syllable. Option B therefore is the final answer to this question. Question 55. Choose the option that has a different stress pattern from the others. Option A, competence. Option B, represents. Option C, syllabus. Option D, quality. Now let's go back to the board to see the breakdown. Option A, competence. It has a stress on the first syllable. Represents. Option C, syllabus. Option D, quality. Now we can see that the difference here is option B, which has a stress pattern on the third syllable. Now let's go back to the screen. From our explanation, we see that option B is the correct answer. Why? Because represent has the stress on the third syllable, as opposed to option A, C, and D, which has the stress pattern on the first syllable. Option B therefore is the final answer. Do not forget that there are several solution providers readily waiting to answer all of the questions. All you need to do is click on the link in the description below. It takes you to my school website. There you can ask all of the questions and solutions will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now let's go over to question 56. Choose the option that has the same consonant sound as the one represented by the letter or letters underlined. So the word is thatch. Option A, clothing. Option B, mother. Option C, then. Option D, method. Now let's go over to the board for the transcription. So it has been transcribed. We have the tito sound and it is voiceless. Okay, so there's usually a contrast between these two sounds. So this is voiceless, this is voice. They are both pronounced or articulated the same way. That is the tongue in between the upper and lower teeth. So you have the tongue in between your teeth and you try to pronounce. So this is voiceless, no vibration. Why this is voice? So more like that. So option A, you have the voiced sound. Option B, you have the voiced sound. Option C, you have the voiced. And option D, you have the voiceless. So you can see it's the same with the one in the question. So let's go over to the screen. So from our explanation or the explanation, we see that option D has the same sound, consonant sound as the one underlined in the question. If you have better steps, solution, or explanations to any of the questions, please feel free to use the comment section. Indicate the question and the solution you would like to share. Question 57. Choose the option that has the same consonant sound as the one represented by the letter or letters underlined. Now the word is chateau. Option A, we have chat. Option B, we have church. Option C, we have champagne. Option D, we have chemical. Now let's go over to the board for the transcription. Now you can see that the word chateau has been transcribed and we have the consonant sound sh. Okay, now let's look at the options. We see that option C has the same consonant sound. So there's usually a contrast between this sound and this consonant sound. Okay, so they are both voiceless, they are not voiced, that is, there's no vibration when producing both sound. But the difference between the two is this one is more like just think of you easing. Okay, you are easing and you are doing shh, something like that. But this one, there's a stop, then you have the easing sound. So you have ch, ch. So this is sh. So that is the difference between the two sounds. Now let's go over to the screen, and from the explanation we see that chateau and champagne have the same consonant sound at the beginning of the word. So option C is the correct answer to this question. Question 58. Choose the option that has the same consonant sound as the one represented by the letter or letters emboldened. Now the word is joints, and we can see letter J is emboldened. Option A, dagger. Option B, advantage. Option C, guardian. Option D, mightier. Now let's go over to the board for the transcription. Now we can see the letter of the alphabet J articulated as J. Okay, and let's look at the options. We are looking for this particular sound, consonant sound, and we can see it in option B at the end of the word. So we have advantage. Now let's go back to the screen. From the explanation and the transcription, we can conclude that the sound J as in letter J in the word joints is same as the sound at the end of the word advantage. Option B therefore is the final answer to this question. Question 59. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or words in italics. The manager commended the players for the narrow victory. Option A, difficult. Option B, unexpected. Option C, easy. Option D, expected. Now the instruction has said we should look for the word opposite in meaning to the word in italics. Now the word in italics is narrow. Now what does narrow mean? It means a close or a small opening or margin. Okay, something pretty really close. And so if something is close, that means it's difficult to get through, or it's difficult to get or to operate. So the opposite in meaning to this word will be easy. Option C. Option C therefore is the best answer to this question. Question 60. Choose the option that best completes the gap. I am not sure that all dash well with John. Option A, where. Option B, is. Option C, are. Option D, will. The answer to this question is option B, is. Why is this so? We use all is well to refer to everything about a person, but then we use are, all are well, to refer to everyone in a group. So in this context, we see it's talking about everything pertaining to John, to a person. So the answer is option B. I am not sure that all is well with John. We've come to the end of this segment and I believe you enjoyed it. Do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button and tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.